a sorry about that, talents to serve a greater Houston community. As the founder of Cooperative Family, he is a rising voice in the areas of youth development and helping youth discover and actualize their purpose. Through this social entrepreneurship enterprise, he has developed the Empowerment Through Poetry program and has successfully delivered his interactive workshops to youth in organizations throughout Houston area. Leading by example, Fortune also serves as the creative director of the Fortune 500 Visuals, a visual arts company focused on photography, videography, and editing. Throughout the week, you can find Fortune establishing community partnerships and leading engaging activities with youth at Blackshear Elementary, while serving as the campus center director with US Dream Academy. He is also the youth leader of Space City Church, where he leads middle and high school students in their spiritual development and relationship with God, family, and community. Fortune strongly believes everyone could live out their full potential and directs people to develop their relationship with God, to tap into their God-given gifts to live a fulfilled life. So without further ado, Fortune, you may begin.
All right, thank you so much, Bianca. Thank you so much, Change Happens, and everybody that's a part of this Zoom meeting, this call this evening. It's an honor and a privilege to be here to speak to you all and hopefully motivate, inspire, and uplift you guys as well. So just everybody who's paying attention, hey, keep your eyes and ears open. There might be some nuggets, some gems that you can learn and apply to your lives as well. And hopefully I can get the opportunity to follow up with you after this as well. So as Bianca said, I'm Fortune McDonald, and I am the founder and creative director of KDF, which is Carpe Diem Family. I like the KDF because it kind of rolls off the tongue, right? And also the Fortune 500 Visuals. I find myself to be a pretty well-rounded individual when it comes to the creative arts and youth development, and combining those two together to impact as many young people's lives as possible. So the backstory though, my earlier years after high school was a long, winding road of trying to figure it out. So in high school, I had, actually even from middle school to high school, I had the dream, just like so many other people, to be an NBA player, right? I love basketball. I've played since I was 5 years old. I was always a starter from 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way through my senior year. But something happened around my junior year of high school. So I was projected to be like 6'3", 6'4". I hit that growth spurt really early. I was having, I had these dreams and aspirations. Then I got to high school and stopped growing. Just stopped growing altogether. I was like, what in the world? It's 5'11". Okay, and not a lot of NBA players that are 5'11", 6 feet with shoes on, if anybody's asking, right? So with that, I just started to think about it, and that dream of being an NBA player just started to kind of fizzle out. It started to die. It was like, well, what else am I good at? Well, I think if I can't be an athlete, I want to represent the athlete. So I just winged it and said, I'm going to go into business marketing, right? And then after that, I'm going to go to law school to be a sports agent because I got to be involved in sports some way, somehow. I thought that was my path. I thought that was my trajectory, something that I kind of made up on my own. Didn't really seek any advice or counsel, but just let me see what happens. I got to Baylor my freshman year, and I was just in shock. First of all, I went throughout my high school years not ever having to study, right? I was just naturally smart, so I just remembered stuff. But when I got to college, I was like, wait, I actually have to study and apply myself? I'd rather have fun. So after my first year at Baylor, I left. Couldn't afford it. My grades weren't what they needed to be anyways. So I'm like, all right, I'm out. Came back to Houston. And just by the way, I spent a good chunk of my high school years just planning, when am I going to get out of Houston? But came back to Houston. And this was 2009, 2010. And I was like, what do I do now? Didn't really know what I was really good at, what I was passionate about. I didn't know what my purpose was. And I just worked. I worked to pay bills. I worked to maintain a lifestyle of just survival, getting by. And I did that from the age of about 20 to about 25, 26, 6 years of just thugging it out, just trying to make ends meet, right? Now, and around that time, I got connected with a mentor who was a youth minister as well. And at that time I was like, oh, I don't really want to do church stuff. I've been a pastor's kid my whole life. I'm trying to just live my own life and do my own thing. But I got connected to him. And there's something that he said to me that sparked something in my head. What you have is enough. Everybody has a gift that God has given them. It may seem small to you, it may seem insignificant to you, but that gift can make a way for you. So then the question was, what was my gift? Now, I played drums for years from the age of 9 all the way through my 20s for my church. Loved music, somehow became the choir director. Didn't want it, but it was kind of thrust upon me because I'd been the one that was in the choir the longest, right? That responsibility was thrust on me. And then next thing you know, the responsibility of leading the youth was thrust on me as well. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm taking on these responsibilities, not really in school, but just working and focusing on helping my church, right? And from that, I was like, wait, hold on. I do have a skill set. I've been writing poetry since I was 13. I've been writing music and songs since I was about 19. I've been playing drums since I was about 9. I've been working with youth since I was a youth. Let me put all these things together and see what happens. So in 2017, now, quick little side note, it was right after Trump won the election. We all remember that time. It was crazy. Everybody was in an uproar, like, how did this guy win? But I remember the day after the election, I woke up and I was like, wait, if this guy can win the election of the United States of America to be president, I can rap, I can make music. I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it, right? I used that skill set of being a poet and a songwriter and a musician to say, I'm gonna rap, I'm gonna make music, I'm gonna make positive motivational music and just put it out there, see what happens. So 2017, I sat down, went to the studio weekly, just building up a catalog. And 2018, I'm like, let me put out a first song. Let me put out another song. And then just little by little put music out. Go to shows, open mics, finding different venues to be heard, to practice, to build up that skill set, to build up that confidence, right? And then from there, I got connected with other creatives. I built that community, built that network of other creatives in the Houston area. Now, this whole time, I was still working with that youth minister who was my mentor. It was like, there's something more for you. He encouraged me to find out what is that next level in the purpose that I have in life. Okay, very, very passionate about working with youth. All right, cool. So now we go from 2018 to 2019, I'm working with youth in a volunteer role at the local community center, Alief Community Center. Now I was just doing different programs and whatever I can just get my hands on to work with them from elementary school through high school. And that was 2018 going into 2019. So at that point, I'm doing music, I'm doing some shows here and there. I'm volunteering at my local community center, working with youth and volunteering at my church as well, and just still holding down a full-time job. Not really focused on education really, but just trying to just figure things out. Then 2020, the beginning of 2020, I remember this. It was a brand new year, right? 2020, the year of clear vision, 2020 vision. I pronounced it, I said, this is my year. I planned out so many different shows, like, okay, now I'm building a little bit of buzz in the city, in the creative environment. Okay, I have this show lined up, that show lined up, that show lined up. I'm ready to go, building my cap, okay. And then the pandemic hit. And it was like, everything was shut down. What in the world is going on? I had all these plans for this year. And then March of 2020, the whole world got shut down. When I tell you that I was in a funk, I really was just like, oh my goodness, all of my plans, everything that I'm doing is out in the open. Oh yeah, and by the way, I also started a photography business just because I like visuals, I like taking pictures, I like creating music videos. Let me do that just as a nice little side gig, see what I can do with that. And that started to build up as well. So once again, as a musician, as a videographer and photographer, as a speaker, everything that I was supposed to do was out in the public, with people. But the pandemic shut everything down. My hopes were dashed. My dreams felt like, once again, like I was that 16-year-old boy who wanted to make it to the NBA, and life happened and my dreams were being taken away from me. But there's something that I learned, is that when one door closes, another door opens. And the avenue for me to be able to still reach people went from being in person to virtual. And that's how Carpe Diem Family was born. And that's how empowerment through poetry was formed. And what that is a whole curriculum that teaches young people how to express themselves in a positive way through poetry. It teaches them how to advocate for themselves, to let their voices be heard, because your voice matters. What you have to say matters. What you think, what you feel matters, and that gives that outlet to express that, right? So I got connected to another group and organization called Upward Bound through, at that time, my girlfriend turned fiance, not my wife. She connected me with Upward Bound and said, hey, Fortune, he's a poet. He likes to teach. He likes working with young people. And I sat there and thought, let me use my skill sets from previous experiences to create empowerment through poetry. Matter of fact, not only that, but let me create a whole organization that's geared towards empowering youth and building communities. When one obstacle happened, the pandemic, it opened up the door to virtually reach people right at their homes, just like I'm reaching you right now. So I just want to encourage everybody that no matter what your past is, whether you were trying to figure things out, whether you're in a place where you feel stuck right now, whether you feel like, oh man, I don't really have any hope, or I'm just here to exist. No, you have a purpose in life. God has a plan for you. Call back on those previous experiences, those past victories, and find out, what can I do to impact other people with those victories, with those experiences, with what I've been through? How can I help and impact other people as well? It might seem like a roadblock. It might seem like a road bump, but that right there can cue you into, wait, I overcame in the past. I got better from this experience that seemed negative. Now, how can I use those experiences to help other people as well? So in a nutshell, that's my story. How I went from the dreamer who wanted to be in the NBA, whose dreams were dashed, who went to college not knowing what he was doing whatsoever, who dropped out and worked for 6 years, one odd job to another. When I list out all the jobs that I've had in my life, you'll be amazed. I'll name a few. I worked at Abercrombie. I was a model, hated it. I worked at Home Depot, hated it. Let's see, I worked at a restaurant for all of 2 weeks because I'm not really the server type. I'm more of an introvert, believe it or not, right? Let's see, I worked at HEB, Whole Foods. I worked at a call center, didn't like that either. I worked for AT&T as a premises technician, climbing poles and installing people's cables. Fun times, but very, very dangerous. Made a lot of money, but almost risked my life doing that as well. All sorts of jobs. I worked at TSU, driving the tram up and down the Tiger Walk for students. All sorts of random little jobs here and there. I worked at U-Haul as well. But in those moments, I learned that every single job I did had something tied together with customer service, talking to people, engaging with people, being in the public, building relationships as well. Little did I know that through those jobs and all those odd experiences, I was building up the skill sets to be a better communicator, to be able to be out in front of people, to not be as shy as I used to be. Because like I told you, I'm naturally an introvert. But by being out around people, I had to develop those skills. So combined with customer service experiences, combined with being a videographer, a photographer, a creative, a musician, a writer, combined with volunteering with my church, working with youth, volunteering at my local community center. Everything that I had experienced in life, when I sat down, worked with a mentor, and reflected on those past experiences, led me down the path that I am right now, to where I have my own organization. I'm also a center director for a youth development organization called US Dream Academy. I'm back in school, working on that because I want to finish what I started. I can't let that be held over my head to not finish something that I started. I challenged myself to go back. Yes, I have all these other things going for me, but I want to go back to get that education and to finish off. And by God's grace, by this time next year, I'll be done with that. And then I'll go on to get that master's degree. And then I'll go on to get that doctor's degree if it's in the right path for me as well. So from humble beginnings, being confused, not knowing what my niche, purpose, or plan was, to meeting a mentor, sitting down, planning, mapping things out, finding what my gifts were, finding what my strengths were, and praying and asking God, like, what am I here for? And little by little, some things were just revealed one step at a time. So that's where I'm at, and this is what I do. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to even share my story. I had a presentation, a slideshow ready and all that stuff, but some things may connect better just verbally. And if you have this again, I can show the whole slideshow presentation and all that stuff. It's kind of neat. Get to use those creative skills as well. But that's my story in a nutshell, guys. And if you have any questions, I'm looking forward to hearing them towards the end of this call as well. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And can you also share a little bit about what it's like to maintain your businesses so they are continuously successful?
Yes. So number one thing is organizational skills. With someone who has like a lot on your plate, the number one thing you have to have is organizational skills. Creating a calendar, creating a timeline, and literally inserting things, creating that system to where you can stay organized. Like for instance, I have a task bucket where I list everything that I need to do, whether it's paying certain bills, whether it's sending invoices, sending email communications, answering phone calls. I have things put in a task bucket, and then I allocate them to different time slots. From 8 to 9 a.m., I'm going to do this. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm going to do that. And I do that every single day, every single week. And that way you can keep track of your activities, keep track of your tasks, and also having a system that works for you financially, whether it's using QuickBooks to keep track of your finances, whether it's Truebill, whatever it is, you have to have a system put in place so you can build and have longevity as well. A time management system, a finance managing system, and also finding the right people to help you in what you're doing. People that may not have the same weaknesses that you have, but they're stronger in those areas of weakness that you have, and working with them to grow. So those are 3 tips that I have for maintaining and growing a business. 1, time management system, a financial management system, and 3, building a team, people that help complement one another in the areas of weaknesses and strengths. So that way you make a cohesive unit and you work together and build and grow.
Thank you. And can you also talk about what it is to get your first step to get a LLC?
Yes. So interestingly enough, the first step to getting an LLC, I work with an accountant, one of my accountants that I know, and it was just as simple as getting the information from the IRS website that talks about the steps for an LLC. You can literally just Google it, IRS LLC. And I sent that information that my accountant gave me to fill out, and he handled the rest. Now, I paid a fee for that. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can pay an accountant or a lawyer. Mine cost about $350, $400, and he did all the filing and all the paperwork for me. All I had to do was sign. That's probably the easiest method, and it's an investment in yourself and in your business. And the reason why you want to have an LLC or something that separates your personal finances from your business finances. That way there's no crossing over of liability as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. That was a great story. And, like I said, we're going to leave our questions for the end. So y'all think about what he said and think about what other questions you might have. So we're now going to move on to Miss Raquel. And Raquel Johnson is a 32-year-old entrepreneur in the heart of Pasadena, Texas. She has lived in this area her entire life and graduated right down the street at Pasadena High School. Initially, she attended the local community college to get an accounting degree. However, her path changed drastically when she took an eyelash extensions course. She realized that this was her passion and decided to pursue a career in the field. She started working from her bedroom at her parents' house, and within a year, she was moving into her own building. Her business has exploded over the past 5 years, and they have expanded 3 times over the past few years. She has turned her dream into a reality with a beautiful shop and some of the most amazing employees anyone could ask for. She says, "We will not let our success stall, however, as we continue to push forward and look into expanding to new locations in the Houston area." So
Hi. Hi, everyone. As y'all basically heard a shortcut of my story. I am Hispanic. I was born and raised in Pasadena. Well, I was born in Houston, raised in Pasadena. father was, he left Mexico and he was a truck driver his entire life. Mother was a stay-at-home mom. Uh, she is my rock, still is my rock. This is my first time doing this, by the way, guys, so I'm really nervous. Fortune, you did an amazing job. So I hope I can take it away from you and do as well as you did. So yes, with my parents being, Mexican, they always had this vision for me to fulfill, I guess, their shoes. Growing up, they would always tell me, Raquel, you want to aspire to go to college. You want to aspire to go to college. I just knew that I had drive in me growing up, and I'll explain a little bit on why, guys. I was born with a cleft lip. And I had over 28 surgeries to reform this face. And luckily, God has me here with all his grace. And I always knew that I had a purpose in life, and I always knew that I wanted to be educated because I wanted to fulfill my parents' shoes. And I wanted to prove to my family that I just wanted to make them proud, really. I really wasn't thinking about me, though. I was always thinking about what my parents always kind of enforced growing up. So, growing up with a deformity in your face, my face has came a long way, but I would get bullied. And I know how people get bullied in school, and it's a world we live in right now. And it was very harsh. And I knew that I always had passion to want to make people feel better, but I didn't know how. Like Fortune said, I was going to school, but I didn't know for what. My parents always pushed for me to be a nurse. I don't have the heart to be a nurse. I feel like I'm too emotional of a person to be a nurse. So I just knew, you know what, I'm going to do something that I feel comfortable doing. I heard Fortune say, I'm just naturally educated. I was not. I had to stay in, day out to study. And I did. I went for my accounting degree back in, I want to say 2008. It was about 2013. Started working for an NDT service place. It was a great company. But that changed for me quickly. After being an accountant, I liked it, but after 3 years, something in me was telling me, this is not what I want to do. I went in and I told my parents. I remember we were eating dinner as a family because we always sat down at the table, and we talked. And my dad was like, hey, how was your day? What's on your mind? And I told him, I said, I think God is calling me to do more. And he said, what's on your mind? Talk to me. And I told him, I said, I want to go back to school. And he said, Raquel, you're doing great. You have great benefits. You're working at a great place. I was getting paid, well, for a 23-year-old. So he was like, why are you going to ruin this? And I said, I'm not ruining anything. I'm just giving myself another shot to test the waters, to see if I can be who I want to be. Because like Fortune said, you have to listen to your brain. Sometimes you think to yourself that what you're thinking is too much or it's out of range. But guys, if you just take the leap of faith, even if you don't have the money, whatever, sometimes it's all it takes. I decided, you know what? No, I'm going to stick to my gun. I told my parents, I'm basically having a family discussion because I want y'all to be behind me. Whether if you want to be behind me or not, I'm going to take this leap of faith because something in me is telling me that I need to do this. So I'm going to go into school for cosmetology. And listen to this. So I told him, I'm going to go to school for cosmetology. I talked to a counselor at San Jac Community College because I couldn't afford a fancy university. And I told her, I said, I just want to make people feel good. I want to make people feel good because I would look at myself in the mirror for very many years. And I thought that I had to look a certain way because of my deformity. I wanted to look like other people would, walking down the street. I didn't want to look at, the slit on my face. And it was you could tell when I was very young, but you can't tell very much now. Um, and I told him, I said, I just want to enroll into cosmetology. She sent me the link and I filled it out that night. I paid it and I told my parents and I told my boss, hey, I'm taking a leap of faith. I'm going to have to be leaving early from work, and I'm going to start school again. And they were like, well, what are you doing, Rocky? And I said, oh, I am going to be going into cosmetology. Guys, I was the CFO's right hand for accounting. And he was like, okay, well, that's interesting. That's a big change. Have fun. Raquel was sent the wrong link and she enrolled herself into a eyelash extensionist program instead of a cosmetology program. I get to school the first day and the lady gives me a mannequin that's laying down and I'm like, well, what are we going to do? And she's like, oh, sweetie, you're in the eyelash extensionist course. I said, this is not what I signed up for. She said, yeah, you paid it. And she was like, well, if you want to withdraw the class, you can. I call my mom. I'm like hyperventilating in the restroom. My mom is my best friend. She's my rock, like I said earlier. And I'm like, Mom, what do I do? I already paid for the course. It's only 6 months. What do I do? Do I just take the class? I said, it's a very short period of time. Maybe it'll benefit me if I take cosmetology after. She goes, you already paid for it, sweetie. Just tell God to take the wheel. Graduated literally 6 months after. I ended up falling in love with it, guys. Like, I still do it. I'm running the show now. I have a team of 9 girls right now. I am looking to opening my second location in Mont Bellevue, which is where I currently live. And I stuck to my gun and it wasn't easy. When I started, guys, I would work from 7 to 5 and then I would go home and work on my clients in my room at my parents' house from 5 to like 10. Sometimes on the weekends, just hustle it up and literally work from 5 to like midnight because I told myself that I wasn't going to stick around at my parents' bedroom, in my bedroom at my parents' house. I wanted to do something for myself. And I remember that this took a nerve in me. My parents are very strong-willed. I had we were having dinner as we always did. And my parents are very, my dad was very nonchalant about me doing cosmetology because he was very proud of me when I did when I got my accountant degree. So I think that that's what he wanted me to stick with. He really believed that I couldn't make as much money, being in cosmetology as I would being an accountant. Well, after he saw that we looked like a bunch of hustlers at his house because people would park by the hour, at their house, I told my parents, we're starting to look like drug dealers. This is a problem. I got my DBA. And like Fortune said, I Googled how to get my LLC, talked to a couple of CPAs. Because I have CPA background, I was like, okay, I know what I need to do. I know the steps. And I went ahead and took a leap of faith. Guys, I'm not even kidding you. I started my business with $4,500. I said, I'm just going to do it. This is what I've saved up. $4,500. That's nothing right now, especially not with the way that the market is. I got myself a tiny room. In 6 months, we blew up. That I called the landlord and I was like, I need something bigger, dude. Like, you need to get me something bigger. My sister's gonna back me up. And that's my story, guys. I went from literally being at my house to getting a building. And after 6 months, it went crazy. people would not stop coming. I have to say it has a lot to do with my personality. I love talking. I'm super social, and I love making people feel beautiful. I do. That's my passion. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I was like, how do I make somebody feel pretty? Compliment them. I always do. I'm a woman that believes that, you know, women should compliment others. It's, you know, I feel like there's so many people. I feel like this world, and I'm just going to say it, this world is wrapped up on Instagram right now. Everybody feels that they need to be this Instagram model, but really what matters is God's grace and your personality. Really, like, focus on what you have to focus. Hard work will literally take you wherever you need to be. I tell people, like I told y'all, it was $4,500 that I had saved, and that's how I started my business. And now I'm looking at my second location. I started teaching classes, and I'm actually getting certified by the state to open up my own school right now. So I will say, like, it's crazy, but if you listen to your gut, you will get places. You just need to stay determined. And I'm not going to lie and say it's easy and it's something that doesn't take a toll on you. This has taken blood and sweat and tears, so many tears. And I will say now, that things, you know, when I will go back, let me go back. So when after I expanded, my sister helped me out. Then we started hiring people, and I have a team of 9 girls. And when Fortune said, you have to find yourself a good team, you have to. They're the ones that are going to back you up, and they're the ones that are going to be there for you when you're not there, and they're your image. So you have to find somebody that's very relatable to you and that is going to really just help you and back you up as to what you're doing, and to see the same vision, you know, where you're headed. It's great, guys. I started doing that, and then you know, the team is amazing and they're great, and I'm very just blessed. It's my first time talking, like I said again, so I know that I, you know, flip-flopped around, but just stick to your gun. Literally stay determined. When you want to give up, chances are don't. Pray about it. Find yourself some grace. Go and literally go walk outside, do some soul searching, come back inside, be ready on the next day, get some good sleep, and handle it. Don't give up on your dream. And if y'all ever need anybody to talk to, I'm here. I'm here because I'm for everyone's success. And so is God. And really, that's who you have to have your primary relationship with. I speak a lot to God when I feel that the world doesn't understand me. Really, just pray. He'll get you aligned. Yeah, that's all I have to say. That's my story.
Thank you for sharing. Can you also give us your tips on how you successfully maintain your businesses?
Yes, an assistant now. And I will say I did get married back in 2020 during the pandemic. Um, and I married a wonderful man that backs me up completely. He is a teacher, but he also has a double major in mathematics and accounting. So we run the show together. He helps me out very much so. Maintaining the business is a lot talking to my assistant and my husband back and forth. And like Fortune said, being super organized. You have to be organized. If not, you're just going to make a mess out of yourself and you're going to be all over the place. You don't want to be all over the place. You want to handle it. You want to have, you know, everything to the T, or at least try to. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And also,
Absolutely.
being a woman, and at that a Hispanic woman, did you have any struggles or any different obstacles that people that don't have those, like aren't a woman and aren't a minority, might not face?
Um, being a woman has a lot of advantages now. Now, um, growing up, I feel like people always want you to be the housewife. Example, my parents being Hispanic, my mother always being a housewife. She was always like, well, are you sure you want to, you know, own a business? Raquel, do you want to have a family? How are you going to spend time with your family? Again, my husband is my backbone. He really, and since we started dating, I remember the first time we met, like I told him, because he was, he's interested. And I told him, I said, one, I'm not here to date around. Two, I'm here to tell you, I am focused and I'm determined, and no one's going to get in the way of that. And he said, no, I'm here to help you. Um, I do feel that a lot of women do not have the help or the support that they need. But guys, again, there is a lot of help available, and there is lots of people that y'all can talk to. Example, myself. You don't have to be a housewife. You don't have to be a mother. I mean, you can't, you can be a mother, and I hope that y'all do become mothers, but it's not impossible to be a mother. I am a mother of a 1-year-old, and I'm rocking it. It's hard, but you can do it. You can do it, and it's not impossible. Don't let that stop you. I hear a lot of people, oh, well, I don't think that I can do it because I'm a mom now. So don't let that stop you. There's ways to work around that. And your child will be proud of you, and they'll probably be rooting for you as they continue and seeing you grow, and you're probably going to be their aspiration. So that's what I can say on my end.
Thank you. And thank you both of
Absolutely.
you so much for joining us and just giving us some insight. I do have one more question for the both of you. I'm wondering, what is one of the biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome in starting your own business that, you might have thought that you might not push through, if you're comfortable sharing that?
I would say for me, the biggest obstacle was my mindset and belief system. That is probably going to be a lot of people's biggest obstacle, is belief in self, saying, am I capable? Do I have enough? Do I have what it takes? And there's that old saying, we've probably heard it a million times. When you stop and think about it, it's really, really true that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. You can't get to your destination. You can't fulfill your destiny, which is your destination, until you take that first step. So that was my biggest barrier, was belief. Growing, just like Raquel said, growing up, I'm Nigerian, right? And if you know anything about Nigerians, we're all about education. You have to get your PhD, your second PhD. For anybody to take you seriously or to think that you're anybody, you have to have all these credentials. So overcoming my mindset of, this is how I've been trained and how I've been taught to think you need to be successful, and unlearning that and saying, no, I have enough. I just need to start with what I have where I'm at. So it's the mindset, mentality. That was a big obstacle. And having the right people around me, the right mentors, and even going through therapy as well. Like, I believe that anybody who wants to be successful has to check in with somebody from time to time, just to see, all right, am I mentally where I need to be at as well? So overcoming that mindset of self-doubt, that's what really helped me get to where I'm at right now, and having the right people around me to help me with that too.
I could just say that one of the biggest obstacles was money for me, because my dad was super hard on us, like I said, and he was more like, no, I already paid for your accounting degree. What are you going to do? Like, how are you going to afford this? And well, by then I was making decent money, but how was I going to open up a business? And like I said, I started, working after hours, like I was doing lashes at $25. My rate right now is $125 to do anybody's, to take them in. So it's just crazy to go back, and I was making really no money. Like I mean, taking 5 clients would take each client at 2 hours, that was 10 hours, guys, just to make like $125. So when I say 4,500, that's a lot of hours and determination to start, to get my foot, wet. So as long as, like he said, mentally, you keep yourself you keep yourself sane and telling yourself, this is going to happen for me. I believe in myself. I am going to get there. And really, when he said right now, you need to have, I don't know what exact word he used, but to me, I was always talking to God. I was always praying, like, God, if this is for me. I remember being in the car one day and I was exhausted and I was tired and I was driving, I don't know where, and I was driving home, I believe. And it was late at night and I just started crying and I was like, God, I know that I have a purpose. For many years, I didn't know what my purpose was. I was, like I said, I would always look down at, why was I born that way? Why did I have to go through surgeries? Why do people look at me so different? But I was like, I was born to be different. I was born to leave a mark here. And I'm going to make my mark by helping people who feel or felt similar to me. And here I am. I am not only a lash artist, I am a full-time psychologist. I listen to people day in and day out, and I love it. So yeah, just get out of your head, stick to your gun, stay determined, stay focused. And it's hard. It's not going to come easy, but you're going to get there if you believe in yourself.
Perfect. Well, thank the both of you so much. So now we're going to open it up for questions. If you can't unmute yourself, that's okay. You could ask in the chat and I could read it aloud for you. So any questions, anything you could think of?
Hello, well, I'm Catherine, and I was listening to everything that you were saying, and it's really like I feel proud that us Hispanics are just bringing our culture back in, and it just makes me proud to be honest. And I don't really know you, but I'm proud of your achievements and everything, and hopefully like one day we can all do that. And I have a question for you. So what will be something that you'll say to a younger person for them like to achieve their goals or not to be scared of the process? Because I'm pretty sure how you say it at first, you started gaining like not too much money, and then just to keep on going and not give up.
So I could hear that she said, what is, it sounds really muffled. So I want to make sure that I get it right. Can you repeat yourself if I'm?
I'll repeat for her, Raquel.
Thank you, Amber.
What she said was, she's very proud of you as a Latina for representing for Latinos. She wanted to know, how you went through the cost issue and how money was an issue. What's something that you would do to like encourage people to keep on going despite any kind of financial barriers?
The way that I did it was I would still kept my accounting job until I felt that I was stable enough to let go of that. So I was still making that check and I was just working after hours at home. And then when I reached that $4,500, I don't know, I prayed, girl, and I told God, Jesus, take the wheel because I'm ready to make a move. And it happened so fast. When you have a passion and people see your drive and they like your personality, they're going to keep coming to you naturally because they're not only there for your work, they're there because, like, to me, half of my girls, they don't even need their lashes retouched or done. They just come and talk to me and they pay me so I can just listen to them. And we have a good old time. So something that I can say is, one, there's a lot of help. If you're a Hispanic, right now, there's grants that you can get. There's a lot of small business grants that you can even apply for. Being Hispanic as a small business owner, after COVID, you have a lot of advantage. And then, well, when I started my business was back in 2015. So rent and all of that wasn't that expensive. The rent for the salon that I had gotten was only $465 a month. So I knew that if I would just hustle, I was going to get where I needed to be. So just don't stop working. Any other questions?
Let's see. In the chat, we have, do you have to be awesome at math?
No, that's why you hire CPAs to do it for you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Systems of automation. That
Yep.
works for me. If you automate that, right?
Yep.
There's Excel spreadsheets. You can put in some formulas. Google it. Literally, if you don't know Skillshare, it can teach you what you need to know. You can YouTube it. YouTube University is a thing to
Yep.
find out how to like get those systems in place. You don't have to be good at
Look,
math.
if me and my husband, like, we don't understand something, we're using QuickBooks, but QuickBooks is very self-explanatory too. And then at the end of the year, all you do is print out your report and you take it to your CPA and they handle it. So there's a lot of ways to it. Google is amazing, y'all, literally. So
Best friend right there.
how do you deal with people that doubt your dreams and how do you keep going? Pray. You pray and you tell God to give you the strength day in and day out. Because what I tell people, y'all, is, and I'm sure Fortune has way more experience than I do. But what I tell people is if you really listen to what outsiders have to say about you, people want you to be successful, but there's deceiving people everywhere. And this world is not pretty right now. Let's be real. So you just have to pray about it and ask God to give you the grace. Like I ask God to give me grace every morning and for people to see who I ask God, I'm like, dear God, just take the show this morning. If I'm feeling doubtful, take those, doubtful thoughts out of my head. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't that you wouldn't want me to be here. I know that you have a destination of where you feel that I need to be, and this is where I've been chosen to be. So just help me, in days of doubts, pray. I that's all I have to say. I'm a very Godful person, so that's how I stay sane.
Definitely agree with Raquel there. Like that faith that one, I didn't come up with this vision on my own. I didn't come up with this dream on my own. I feel like it was divinely inspired and it was confirmed through various key people in my life, right? Through mentors, through other preachers who were like, I see something in you, right? And it's like what I didn't see in myself, they saw. So then I had to go back to the source, as Raquel said, saying, God, what do you have for me? This is really it. And when you get that confirmation by your creator, it's like what anyone else has to say, it just means that they don't see it. They weren't given the vision. They weren't given the dream. So why would they believe in something that they haven't seen yet? Something that that's inside of you. Just from that first spark, you fan that flame, let it continue to grow. And practically speaking, you surround yourself and you surround your environment, your mental space with positive things. If you have to read scriptures, if you have to listen to motivational speakers, if you have to find out other people's stories that impact you as well, and you realize, wait, if they can do it, I can do it. Because they'll tell you, there's nothing special. I'll tell you right now, there's nothing uniquely different about me other than belief. Belief that God put me on this earth for a reason and that I can fulfill my purpose. That's it. Other than that, I'm not the smartest person. I don't have the greatest work ethic, right? But I know if I remain consistent and diligent and surround myself with positive things, positive music, positive messaging, scripture, prayers, just literally saturate your environment, your mental space with positivity, you won't have time for anybody that's doubting you. And if I say this, people that doubt you, you can do one or two things with them. You can allow them to reveal themselves and say, okay, you're not a part of my plan. I'm gonna keep you over here at arm's length. Or two, if you're the kind of person who's competitive like me, if you doubt me, all right, I'm gonna show you.
Mhm.
I'm gonna show you.
Yep.
I was the kind of kid, like on the basketball court, you doubt me, all right, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna
Yep.
play twice as hard and make sure that I dominate and win. Or if you're the kind of person that I don't really like conflict, okay, I know who you are. You're not a part of the plan. Stay over there.
Yeah.
That's my tip. Yeah.
Surround yourself with you know, with good people too.
Mhm.
They will they'll never bash you. They'll keep you motivated. They'll actually keep you in line, and remind you if you're slipping up. So yeah, I mean that's all I have to say about that.
So we have a thank you in the chat. Does anyone else have any other questions? Anything at all? Anything? Okay, well, if you think of something, feel free to type in the chat. You know, we'll still be here for a little bit longer, but can everyone who's attending, every youth that's attending, please in the chat write your first and last name, as well as your email or your phone number, whichever is the easiest to contact you, because we would like to move on to our raffle. And even if you don't receive a raffle, we're going to ask at the very end for a poll if you would like a session, and we're still going to try to connect you. So we would really like that information, because if we miss that information, we can't, you know, some of us might not be able to contact you. So if you're really interested in that, we really want to do that for you. So everyone could just take a few minutes. I'm also going to put the poll up, and then Miss Rebecca will get the raffle going for us. Let's see. One second, everyone. We're going to give it a few minutes.
Rebecca just asked a very, very great question.
Oh, yes, it says, did you both have to leave friends or people behind in order to move forward?
Yes. Yes. It was a hard process because in my late teens, early 20s, I was with a group of fun people, very, very fun. We had a great time together. But I had some moments towards the time I was like 26 where I was like, why am I here? Why am I with? Now, these are great people. Like, if I see them, cool. If they hit me up, hey, shoot you a text. But I had to realize that a lot of people that I was with, a lot, like the majority of people that I was with at that time in my early to mid 20s, we were not going in the same direction. And I literally told them, because some of them were good friends, right? I had to tell them, hey, look, I'm going to be gone for a while. Like, I got some things to work on. And I realized who my real friends were because they honored that. They said, we understand, go do what you got to do. And the ones who were like, who you think you are, all right, I know what you're really about. You're trying to keep me down, right? So did I have to leave some friends, some people behind? Yes, in a sense. Some people I had to cut off completely. Other people I stayed in contact with because they're just generally good people. We just have different paths. And that's kind of how it is in life. Everybody has their path and their lane. And you can't always bring everybody with you, because then that slows down your progress. As long as you are progressing with the mindset of, I want to get somewhere in life, not to think that I'm better than anybody else, but I just know I have a different path and I have to walk my path. I have to run my path. I have to stay on the lane for my journey, for my life's journey as well. Sometimes you have to leave some people behind, but if that's communicated and they understand who you are, they understand what you're about, then they'll ultimately support you. They'll just be from a different lane as well.
Absolutely. I feel like the main people that I left behind was my party friends. I didn't have time for that. I knew where I needed to get, and I knew that by wasting my time and going out instead of spending time to focus, you know, I I just needed to leave them behind because I knew that I had a destination where I wanted to be and I had goals to meet. And with me partying or, going out every weekend, I wasn't gonna have that extra time to really focus on what I wanted to get done. So yeah, and like Fortune said, life in general, when you get married, when you go off to college, sometimes there's not really a reason behind why you leave some people. You just have different paths. And when I became a mother, I left a lot of people behind too. When I definitely pursued my dream and I opened up the business, then that's when I really buckled down and said, this is where I want to get. And unfortunately, because when you own a business, it doesn't mean you stop working there. It means you're going to work 10 times harder. So you have to leave people behind to keep moving forward. And unfortunately, even right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to leave some people behind. Even now. So that's just the way it's going to go. And that's just the mindset that you have to have. Be ready to leave people behind that are not going to be, an asset to where you need to be in life, or, it's just different paths. That's all.
And just to follow up what Raquel said as well, sometimes you do have to leave people behind, but don't feel guilty about that either. Because a lot of times we have what was called imposter syndrome, like, wait, am I even supposed to be here? Yes, you are, right? And don't feel bad about your progress or having to leave people behind, because that's just a part of your journey as well. Some people will be with you, some people won't, but never ever feel bad about progressing in life. It just comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank y'all so much for that. And y'all could still ask questions, but we are going to launch the poll right now really quick. And then also we're going to start our raffle. So then we could get y'all on out of here and we could all enjoy our weekends, which this was a great start, by the way. So 1 second. Having a little technical difficulties, but we got this.
While you're doing that, Bianca, I just wanted to share quickly. I'm sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice. But I know Raquel probably forgot because she's really nervous, but she did a great job. But one of the things that we've always said to each other, right? I've known Raquel for about 30 years, is, Denzel Washington said something a long time ago, and it's that true desire in the heart for anything that's good is God's proof to you that he sends beforehand to indicate that it's already yours. So if you have a true desire in your heart, and I know we always talk about this back and forth, me and Raquel, if you have a true desire in your heart and it's good, then that's something that God sends to you to keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Well, while we're waiting for the poll and the raffle to come up, just to let y'all know, since this is recorded, we are going to be able to post it. So if there's something that stuck out to you, because we had some very wise things that were said on here, you could always find that on our Voices website or Change Happens website. So without further ado, who's it going to be? Okay, and our first winner is Miss Destiny. So Destiny, if you already haven't put your information, please put it in there, and we'll be reaching out early next week so we could get you set up with one of our entrepreneurs. So that is our first one. Our second one. Ooh, okay, we got Lala for number 2. So same thing, if you haven't already put your information in there, please do so we could connect you with one of our bosses. We got 2 more. Catherine. Yay. Same thing. Please put your information. We really want to get y'all connected. And let's see. And Sam. So congratulations to all our winners. Please let us connect with you. Please, if phone doesn't work, we got email, we'll connect you. But even if you have not won a coaching session and you're interested, please give us a thumbs up and we'll still get you connected with somebody. We don't want to leave anyone out. We want all of you to, you know, make your dreams a reality. Let's see. So Miss Victoria. Anyone else? We will definitely get you connected with somebody. Okay, well then with that being said, I want to thank everyone for coming. We all had a great time. Thank you for taking time out of your Friday. Thank you to our entrepreneurs, our big bosses that came and spoke to us to inspire all of us. If anyone has any follow-up questions, we will definitely connect you and get you the information that you need. Any words, entrepreneurs?
Thank you all for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And seize the day. Carpe diem. Seize every single day. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Good one.